The contemporary art world is vibrant and booming as never before. It's a 21st century phenomenon, a global industry in its own right. Brilliant Ideas looks at the artists at the heart of this. They have a unique power to inspire, astonish, provoke, and shock. To push boundaries, ask new questions, and see the world afresh. In this episode, Mariko Mori. With a career spanning nearly 3 decades, Mariko Mori is now one of the world's best-loved artists.
The great thing about artwork is that it's no linguistics. It's international visual language.
Her work is appealing to many people.
She created her own language and she became definitely a unique artist on her own.
Specializing in large-scale sculptures and installations, she is an expert in fusing tech and space-age imagery with spirituality and nature, and taking us on a mystical journey into the future, the past, and our inner selves.
Her work brings people into a deep meditation often and led to thinking oneself. What is us? What is humans? What is life? What is universe? What is our society?
The sort of the fantastic imagery, this sort of otherworldly experience, plus the harnessing of technology, which have proved to be, very fascinating for people.
Hi, I'm Mariko Mori. I'm an artist based in London and New York.
Before becoming an artist, Mariko worked as a fashion model, walking the runways of Tokyo while she was a fashion student in the 80s.
I used to collaborate with a fashion photographer to produce some images. I designed costume and hairstyles and so on, like a test shooting. And I believe that's the time that I started to learn the vocabulary of creating images. But of course, at the time, I wasn't really intention to make artwork then.
It was only when she went to art school in London that she decided to build on those early photographs, creating a body of work that would launch her career.
I was really thinking about the Japanese society. I saw quite a difference, especially women's role in Japan at the time in society. I wanted to make some kind of a social comment on those issues.
It's futuristic. It was one of the first times that you saw a different type of contemporary art coming out of Japan. He was able to sort of pick on that exoticism that was extremely fascinating to foreign audiences.
Although I'm making a social comment, while I was producing these photographs, people did kind of react to the situation, so I photographed that too. For example, one, it's subway. I'm in a subway, and people close to me were completely ignoring me. The people in the back was really staring at. So you can really see the emotional reaction that in the Japanese society, they kind of closed when it's like closer and kind of you notice, but you're ignoring. The other people in the back, they're really paying attention. So this kind of a quite strange atmosphere that I wanted to really depict.
I thought she was touching a very interesting part of urban life or contemporary life, not only just in Tokyo, but it's happening everywhere. The kind of unwillingness of the people to recognize her presence. And that was quite striking, and that's the kind of indifference that all the big city is experiencing. That was one of my pleasant surprise that, wow, Japan is producing such a new artist with a universal artistic vocabulary.
So this is my office.
I saw that you have this sculpture here.
Yes, he must be with us 15, 16 years, protecting us.
Mariko grew up in Tokyo. Although she spent some of her childhood in the United States, her Japanese upbringing has never left her and has had a lasting impact on her art.
I started to do a tea ceremony practice at 3, but really taught me that using all the 6 senses that you can express ideas and sharing ideas through the tea ceremony. That was very powerful and really gave me a good think about how I can utilize all the media to produce artwork.
In the late 90s, Mariko shifted her attention to designing experiences and began investigating ways of creating art that can engage all the senses. From 1998, her work took a new direction. One of her key pieces is Wave UFO, in which she realized a new visual language that would become her signature style.
She has developed a language that is classic and reflect a specific dimension of the Japanese culture in between a fantasy world and the futuristic world and scientific world and a religious world. It's very specific of Mariko Mori's work and unique.
I kind of removed my body existence in a work. In other words, I started to produce work, more architectural work. I wanted to more talk about a deeper consciousness of mind rather than the social kind of commentary work. Way before, I feel is that more successful work that have able to reach out to many different audience from a different culture. Way before, I use a Buddhist iconography in a work such as temple, and in a way, the image of the Buddhist iconography kind of removes the people from different cultures, it seems. But UFO, it's a kind of a universal, so it's easier to kind of be accessed. I wanted to introduce the idea of oneness. I included audience to come inside the work and experience together.
When she started creating the total environments, that's when I felt there's something really special happening here. So you enter into not simply a room and look at things hanging on the wall, you're entering a completely alien universe. So it's total immersion. You're swallowed up by it. And I think that's a pretty spectacular way of engaging.
Mariko Mori is just one of a handful of female Japanese artists making it big in the international art world. Today, she works out of her studio in Manhattan, her second home next to London.
I love New York very much. I think it's one of the unique places in the world that many different people, different kind of culture, all mixed, but we're still living together. I think it's a role model of how the world should be.
And it seems with Mariko, everything is a unifying white, even her clothes.
Do you always look like super perfect with your hair always manipulated?
She knows. No, not true.
While Mariko is one of Japan's most successful artists, being called a Japanese artist is a label she prefers to avoid.
People don't recognize her as a Japanese artist, even though she is creating and touching very fundamental Japanese elements and subject matter. She is, first of all, a very successful international artist.
I'm not really feeling myself as Japanese artist since I've been living outside of Japan more than 25 years. I still practice tea ceremony. Culturally, I would like to keep the connection I think depends if the Japanese people think I'm Japanese artist, maybe I'm Japanese artist, but it depends, you know. I think some people think I'm Japanese. It's up to how you decide. I guess I used to like very much Astro Boy and animation from TV that's especially quite futuristic. And I remember playing out my room, making everything futuristic, kind of, for new waterfall. And we had a little kind of Photoshop photo with a ring, with a new waterfall. Technology was quite important element in my work because certain ideas were really require certain technologies to produce. So sometimes I collaborate with engineer, and engineer developed new technology in order to produce the work. But I believe this is like human history. We've been using technology to extend our vocabulary and also extend our mind of the possibility.
One of her most astounding pieces is time.She. Mariko collaborated with Tokyo's leading space observatory. Based on the type of particle the observatory detects in space, the sculpture changes color in real time.
I saw it for the first time in London, and probably I stayed there almost an hour. It's a single piece, but it just continued to emit different light out from within, and it is to me almost like birth of a human being. At the same time, it is the birth of the universe. I don't know what it is, but it's totally new experience.
I think her importance really revolves around her ability to create a total environment. Well, I know that some people have felt that the technology overrides anything else that she might be trying to achieve, and I would say that there's probably a fair degree of truth to that. On the other hand, I think her use of technology is, again, it's another tool that an artist would use. We live in the modern world. We use the resources around us. So I don't see that as a negative aspect.
In March this year, Mariko continued her interest in space and the universe with a new series of sculptures called Cyclicscape.
The exhibition Cyclicscape were based on the idea of cyclic model of universe by Professor Paul Steinhardt from Princeton University. I was very inspired by the idea that this theory of the physics showing that even universe has kind of followed the cyclic model of life cycle, which is very interesting. The string theory suggests existence of multi-universe and parallel universe. In a way, is that each sculpture are representing universe. So we have 5 sculptures here, so it's kind of 5 universe. It's not talking about physicality of universe, but it's kind of energy flow. It's coming back to the same spot again, like an endless circle of the life of universe.
It's really beautiful, and it's so shiny and beautiful, and looks like floating. Yeah, I like it.
This kind of circulation idea of a universe, it's something similar to Buddhist philosophy of circulation of the life, death, and rebirth. So therefore, I was quite intrigued by it.
I was impressed. Didn't expect to see this kind of forms. The unnatural materials all of a sudden become these organic forms, and they carry life and light, and they almost become moving.
All of her sculptures have been painted with a specially developed blend of holographic and fluorescent paint, which changes color depending on where you stand.
These are very playful and they play with your perceptions. Once I started turning around it, I couldn't stop because I liked what it was doing to my eyes. It's like your eye moves in two different directions at the same time.
While the reception to this exhibition looks positive, Mariko's trademark of using pure and simple forms has also polarized critics in the past.
I think that the earlier work, people loved the novelty of it. And I think the later work, some of the people feel like the forms that she is using are, well, we've seen them before kind of thing. But I have to say, not in defense of the work, but what she's after in the later work isn't novelty. It is actually a coming home. So it's sort of like it's akin to maturity, if you will. It's like a teenager going out and partying, you know, and having a great time and being a bit outlandish. And then as they get older, they're like, oh, you know what? It's nice to have a walk in the garden.
I always challenge myself of not repeating myself in a way and doing a different media, using new technologies or presenting new ideas. And so if you hate it, I feel sad, but you know, I think work itself also has its own life. I think any artwork is a reflection of your mind. Depends on who you are. When you see the work, people will interpret it quite differently. That's quite interesting about it.
In 2010, Mariko kick-started an ambitious plan to take her art out of museums and into nature. Under her own non-profit organization, Mariko is planning to build a series of permanent monuments around the world, one per continent.
The idea is to honor nature. The tradition from our remote ancestors, we are always honoring nature and producing some monuments. So I thought that was importance for contemporary society to kind of acknowledge the importance of nature and once again to be connected with nature.
The first of her series is Primal Rhythm on Japan's Miyako Island, a two-piece installation consisting of the sun pillar and the moonstone.
So I kind of visited Miyako Island, and then I discovered such a beauty, the landscape, but it's also under the sea, all the beautiful corals, healthy and pristine. I was just so shocked, and I never seen anything like it, and really feel it's a really treasure on the earth that many people don't know how beautiful it is. And when I look at it, you know, we also part of that, so we must be beautiful too in a way.
The sun pillar was installed in 2011. The moonstone will join it in 2020. Embedded with technology that will allow it to change color according to the tide.
The sun pillar, it's a layered acrylic, and it's a material used for aquarium. So it's a salt, water resistant, and sun ray resistant. The structural design of that, it will last 1,000 years. When the winter solstice sun goes down, the sun pillar casts shadow onto the little bay where the moonstone will be floating. It's kind of like a marriage between sun and moon, and it's kind of like a symbolic of the rebirth.
In Japanese art in particular, there's a very strong tie to nature. And the challenge, I think, for an artist like Mori is to bring this nature together with modern technology. She's been able to bring those two important yet almost seemingly diametrically opposed points of view. I think that is really where importance lies.
Currently, Mariko is working on a second installation, Ring. to be installed next year on a waterfall in Rio, Brazil. Like most of her works, Ring is a team effort.
The ring will be honoring a waterfall. And it will be kind of a unification of the 5 rings of Olympic. As you know, that it will be an Olympic game in 2016 in Rio. I really like to kind of bring attention to the oneness consciousness, that we are all one and sharing the one planet. So this ring is oneness ring, uniting humanity of the world. So this is a model. So when the light is hitting, it's kind of this color. When it will change, you see the difference, like kind of more gold. The great thing about artwork is that it's no linguistics. It's international visual language that could reach anybody in the world. You know, we have many different kind of people and different culture and so on, but we all came from Africa originally, and 90% of DNA that we are sharing with everybody, that we all came from same origin. So in a way, we are all the same, and we are all the kind of connected.
Art is something that challenges people, encourages, and sometimes even make people cry or angry. Rarely Mariko's work make people angry. Her work brings people into a deep meditation often and led to thinking oneself. What is us? What is humans? What is life? What is universe? What is our society? And that is the fundamental key elements constituting a great art.
My wish is that the power of art is really expanding. And I see it quite well when I delivering artwork in remote places, reaching out to the local people. Like, for example, one story is that one fisherman I met at the site of Sampira, I was taking picture, and then he said, I can take you over there. And then I went onto his boat, and he was showing me the Sampira, and he was very proud to show me and how great it is. And, you know, he said, you have to see when the sun comes down, like, you know, really explain it. So I realized, okay, it's, you know, the power of art is really reaching out to many people. And so it's pity to just close it inside a museum. So I feel in the future is that art can make a connection to many different, you know, people in the world, and it become maybe full of art, and you know, that's I hope.